Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. I did a blog this week where I said that I would do a live video on YouTube, and this is it. So, whether you join me now or you join me later, this is my very first time going live on YouTube. And I wanted to do this because I want to find out whether anyone's interested in me doing this live. I want to find out whether there's an audience for it. Of course, I go live quite a lot on Facebook, and today I'm going to be talking about my book, Stuck in the Mud: Stories of Hope for When You're Stuck. Stuck in the Mud was released just 1 week ago, and it's been a pretty fantastic week. It's been exciting. There's been lots of things going on. I've almost lost my voice completely, and now taking to these kind of throat sweets to keep me going. But I was saying to my daughter and my wife earlier on, the excitement for the book probably won't last forever, so I'll milk it for all I can, doing all the interviews and all the chats and all the different stuff I can. Now, if you do happen to kind of stumble on this live as I'm on here talking for a few minutes, do feel free to put a question in the chat bar. If you've got anything that to ask or say, then I'll pick that up. Putting something in later on, I'll still do my best to look at the questions and answer them either in a future video or in the chat bar in the side. Now, what is Stuck in the Mud? For those of you who haven't heard me talking about it yet, Stuck in the Mud is a book that I've written of, in some ways, life experiences and things that I've been through. In other ways, it's ways in which I can talk about what the Bible says about restoration, about the meaning of peace, and about finding real joy in Jesus. You see, one of the things that I kind of discovered as I've been a dad and married and working, and all these different things that we do with our lives, is that when we open ourselves up to other people, that we find that there are ways in which we can speak into each other's lives. Sometimes we hear about things that other people are going through, and it's difficult because we don't really know how to help. But if we word and we focus on the things that he says to us and that God speaks into us, we can find lots of different ways to help other people. Now, what's interesting is that sometimes that help isn't in advice, it's just in listening and showing some care and some consideration for other people. There are stories that I tell in the book about just being available to other people, and the power of that in other people's lives can be something that you can't quantify. It's difficult to know how much you make a difference in other people's lives, but actually, just by showing up and being someone who will listen, has real value. Now, this book um, has been a real labor of love, and I've been working on it for nearly 3 years now. It's published by Lion Hudson. You can actually get it in most bookshops in the UK. It's available now. It's available internationally, but it's actually launched in other countries on different dates. And unfortunately, I don't know those dates off the top of my head because the publisher have got those. I do know that the States is April, but I'm not sure about anywhere else. So it's released by Lion Hudson. They picked it up about 18 months ago and put it on their slate and put it for release this January. And so it was out on the 22nd, which was last Friday. As you open the book, you've got the kind of endorsements from different people. And one of the most encouraging things has been to send what I've written to other people and to have them speak into me and speak into the writing, and I think for those of you who are creative, I just was having a conversation with a friend of mine called Tom Elliott, and we were talking about his creative community, and that community is all about finding movement and finding ways to achieve your goals. And one of the ways that I was able to achieve this book and to achieve goals with this book was to actually send it to people who know what they're doing. One of the first people that I sent it to is written in here, this guy called Martin Saunders, and he was really kindly written. John Proctor has been working on the front lines of ministry for decades and understands people and knows how to help. This book is like an arm around the shoulder from a wise old friend. And he goes on, but let me tell you, the first time I sent him part of this manuscript, what he actually said to me was, that's well written, but I'm not sure what it's really about. You see, the feedback we get from other people can be really helpful, because he helped me to frame not only the best way to put this thing together, but also helped me to figure out what I should call it. One of the other people who've written an endorsement in this book is a guy called Colin Piper. Colin wrote, "Reader, be warned, John Proctor is about to sting you. Just when Stuck in the Mud appears an easy read, it will challenge your socks off." And he goes on. But again, when I first sent him the manuscript, he said to me, you know, I really like you and I like reading your stories, but it's a bit nice. And so when I was taking his feedback and figuring it out, I had to figure out really how to improve the manuscript, improve the narrative, and again, that really helped me to get to where this book is today, where I'm able to kind of share it with people like you. One thing that's really important to me about this book is that it's dedicated to my dad, which is just in one of these inner pages. It says, "Dedicated to the loving memory of my dad, Edwin Proctor." And the reason why it's dedicated to him, maybe I would have dedicated to him even if he'd still been alive, but he died about 18 months ago, and he read most of the book and said to me that he was impressed with my theology, but which I thought was really funny, because he didn't say he liked it, but I liked the way he described it. But yeah, my dad got a chance to read some of it, but unfortunately didn't live to see it published. And so I dedicated the book to him. As we go through the book, there are a number of important themes. One of the big things that I talk about is identity, about understanding who you are and knowing who you are in the eyes of God. And, you know, I say to you and really encourage you that if you're going through something that's a real struggle, you know, sometimes the very first thing to figure out is really who you are. All of the obstacles will take a long time to figure out potentially. But if you can figure out what God thinks of you and who you are in the light of eternity, then you will find much more movement in your life. Zephaniah 3:17 says this, and this is something I want to encourage you with today. "The Lord your God is with you and takes great delight in you." This is something I actually wrote about a lot in the book, about finding delight, about the rhythm of creation being about delight, the rhythm of creation um, being about finding a place of peace. Now, I don't know if you can hear my dog snoring in the the background. All I can hear is this in the corner. But anyway, that's good. It's nice to have him in the room. Yeah, so Zephaniah 3:17, "The Lord your God is with you and takes great delight in you." One of the big themes in the book is about taking great delight in God as well. You see, there's this thing that happens where if we can figure out, first of all, that God takes great delight in us and live in that, well, that's good, really good news. But part of the puzzle, if you like, the puzzle of life or the puzzle of faith, is the benefits of taking great delight in God as well. You see, when we can take delight in Jesus, take delight in what God is active and doing and trusting in his promises, that can really do us a great deal of good. One of the chapters in the book, I talk a lot about thankfulness. There's this quote that I'm going to butcher because I won't be able to remember it off the top of my head, the exact wording. But the idea is that it says that if you can understand something enough to choose it, then you'll be able to take much greater joy through it. That's something that's really important to me about this book, and the narrative in there about understanding identity, understanding love and legacy has got a lot to do with getting unstuck in our daily lives. There's quite a lot about our practical lives in the book as well. Every single chapter actually starts with a story from my life, something about stress or bereavement or redundancy, the things that I've struggled with in my life, things that probably you've struggled with as well, where stuff just doesn't go well, just doesn't hang together in a way that is immediately fruitful for you. But you know, no matter what you go through, you still have a God who loves you, who is calling you and wants to spend time with you and for you to understand that relationship back. In Psalm 46, it says, "Be still and know that I am God. I will be honored by every nation. I will be honored throughout the world. Be still and know that I am God." That's got a lot to do with this idea of delight, about the rhythm of God's work, about the rhythm of His creation, and you know, this is something that that is so important for us when we're going through such busy lives. All the different things we go through with this whole lockdown and everything like that. You know, there is so much that we have to cope with. And sometimes the simple truth is that we need to understand ourselves more, we need to understand God more. We also need to learn how to be still, how to reflect, how to just let the moment kind of work around us, just turning things off and taking a moment of peace. I was writing a piece last night for a magazine, again to promote the book, um, and I think that my piece is going to go next to like a picture of the book. And the whole point of the piece that I was writing was about this idea of peace and about switching off. I actually wrote one of the lines in it was, "This isn't going to be popular, but um, you know, one of the most important things about us as human beings is that, yeah, okay, we don't do through, um, you know, in a we use solitude to allow God to speak to us, and that is a big, big deal because oftentimes we'll sit and we'll turn something on, or we'll turn on some worship, or we'll open the Word of God, or we'll reel off a shopping list to God. There are times when we just have to say, "God, what is it that you want to say?" And then we just have to be quiet. We just have to allow the moment to run its course. And if you fall asleep, this is what I wrote in the article last night. And if you fall asleep, don't worry, so did Elijah. And if you fall asleep, don't worry, so did the disciples. Sometimes we are just in need of that moment of quiet, of peace. We call it solitude. But that moment where we can say, that we are being still. And as I said in Psalm 46, when it says, "Be still and know that I am God, I will be honored," says God. By hook or by crook, that sounds, doesn't it? Like, I will be honored. It is going to happen. You don't have a choice. Zephaniah 3:17, "The Lord your God is with you and takes great delight in you." Isn't that lovely that God would draw us to quiet? There's that wonderful passage about leading us to still waters, but so wonderful that we have a God who draws us to quiet, and that it would be of great benefit both to us and to the relationship with Him. I hope that's good news for you today. I'm going to stop, and I hope that this has been of encouragement to you. If you're interested in getting the book, it is available from bookshops. You can go to Amazon, to Eden, to bookshop.org, who support local businesses, so go to that one. You can go to Waterstones. You can go to many different places to find this thing. Type in my name or Stuck in the Mud. Look for the yellow boots. That's what you need to do. Look for the yellow boots. And I really hope to see you very soon. Bye-bye.